Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's February 25th, 2019. I'm out in the lower northern workshop area. I'm along the eastern wall of the workshop and all. And yesterday, the day before, I fixed the electrical outlet receptacle boxes in the area that I already installed on the southern wall. In today's video is another video about creating all of those insulation blocks that are 7¼ inches tall to meet the height of those 2x8 floor joists above up there, and they're 5½ inches deep, the depth of the 2x6 wall, which that top frame, that double top frame up there, is 5½ inches in depth. So what I ended up doing was moving a lot of the materials and things along this eastern wall and extended, because I only had done partially, creating the insulation, which you could see just behind me here, along this wall. So all of the insulation has already been in between the studs. There's 3 layers of 1.5 inches, giving us 4½ inches of polyisocyanurate, rigid foam insulation board, and as you can see, there's another 1½ inch sheet that has studs supporting it both horizontally and vertically for the plywood that goes up against it here as well. So not only is there the insulation between all of these studs, there's insulation that's going to cover the studs, and I've explained that before. It's about really creating a wonderful thermal barrier so that heat doesn't transfer between each of these studs. And one of the weakest places that we can have is those places up there between the floor joists. Really tightly packing in all of that rigid foam insulation board to decrease any airflow, which is really important, decreasing any thermal loss through there, and also creating a vapor barrier as well. So that's what I ended up doing yesterday. I spent quite a bit of time cutting up the pieces. A lot of it was from scrap pieces, the remaining scrap pieces. I still have more scrap that I'm going to be using in a few more places in areas that haven't been insulated. I still have to insulate around the windows as well. And so what's going to follow in this video is me using the table saw to create the 5½ inches of width, which is the depth of this wall, but the width of the insulation blocks, and then using the sliding compound miter saw to cut them to length, which is the height, the 7¼ inches, to match the height of those 2x8 floor joists. Remember, a 2x8 is really 1½ by 7¼ inches. So we're tightly packing all of that insulation between those floor joists. So the only places that heat is gonna get lost is through those floor joists up above there, that double top plate, and these 2x6s that are going vertical. By using the insulation to cover all of these studs and that double top plate, that eliminates the heat transfer or minimizes the heat transfer, but we still have those 2x8s that we're going to deal with in the future. There's some conductivity, but having the nice depth going deep into the wall by 5½ inches decreases the amount of energy heat loss through that 2x8 floor joist. So you'll see me cutting up the pieces and then installing them, pounding them in using chunks of 2x4. Go through a lot of pieces of 2x4 because we'll really hammer those rigid foam insulation boards tightly into the area. I use all different sizes to get as tight a fit, everything from 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, 1½ inches, 2 inches, 2½ inches, and 3-inch types of rigid foam insulation to achieve a really tight fit between each one of those floor joists from the second floor above. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Give us a thumbs up if you think this video was of value. Share it with your friends. And if you'd like to be notified when we post more videos, hit that bell icon if you desire that. And by all means, folks, have a super fantastic day. Bye-bye now.